I'm Eric Harley. We're at the Mid-America Trucking Show, and joining us right now from Trucker Tools, Prasad Gallipalli. Prasad, welcome back. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me here.
It's funny. You and I just talked recently on the phone, so I get to meet you in person here at the show, like the Mid-America Trucking Show. There are a lot of issues out there. First of all, let's recap. For those who don't know about Trucker Tools, give us a rundown here.
So Trucker Tools is a driver app. It's a smartphone app for drivers. As the name says, it's a toolbox.
Right.
It's all-in-one app that helps truckers simplify their life on the road. So such as finding cheapest fuel along their route, service centers, weigh scales, the most accurate truck stop guide, truck-specific routing, weather,
right,
truck washes,
right,
pretty much you name it. Everything is through the app, including finding available freight and tracking freight from pickup to delivery and sending the bill of ladings back to the shippers or brokers.
Wow, it goes full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah, that's a very intuitive approach. You guys have obviously spent a lot of time getting feedback from drivers in development, right?
Yes. So when we started, we made a point to listen to truckers because they know what they need.
Yeah.
So everything that you see in the app has been promoted by truckers.
Right.
They said, hey, why can't I do this? Why can't I, find Walmart listings?
Right.
So, we did not know that they were using
Right.
Walmart listings. So we said, well, let's find that and let's put it in the app.
There you go.
Because this is an app, if you make your consumers, your customers, in this case, truckers who are primarily owner-operators and small carrier drivers,
right,
part of your roadmap, your product roadmap, together we could build an app that they like.
Yeah, and that's it. Who's to say if in any point of interest, a lot of times you look at it, diesel prices or, state rest areas, those are going to be the given, right? But then you think about something like a Walmart. And Walmarts are trucker friendly. Hey, can I, where can I, and I can go do my shopping. I can park on the edge of the parking lot and no problem. And so that becomes something where, again, it is hitting home with the base, with the end customer here. How long in development, or should I ask, are you guys always in development in terms of adding things to the app?
You're absolutely right. This is a work in progress always because the needs for our truckers are changing every day.
Right.
They would want something better, something new. They'll tell us exactly what they want if we listen to them.
Sure.
And that's why we have a message board on our app where we let people tell us what they want. We reach out to our truckers actively seeking their feedback. We even bring them into our customer advisory board meetings and seek their feedback. So there are multiple ways we do that. So it's always been, although we are the pioneers in this space, we started the app long before many other apps in this space.
Right.
We took it upon us the mission of making it a continuous development. So we're constantly adding new things to the app.
That's great. That's great. Let's talk about some of the issues that drivers are dealing with. Driver detention is still an issue. As long as I've been doing this show, over 2 decades now, it has been an issue. Where are we on that, and how is Trucker Tools involved?
So detention, as you said, is an ugly thing right now.
Yeah.
Last year, there was a study done and found out that about 3% of all the detention times have been actually paid. So we did a study because with our app, we do the tracking of freight from pickup to delivery.
Right.
And so we can see how long exactly the driver stays at a particular stop.
Sure.
And when we look at that in markets, pretty much the average is over almost close to 4 hours per stop. So 2 hours above the stipulated time.
Right.
So detention has been a huge problem.
Right.
Now, when you look at it, the detention itself has multiple solutions. The first thing is, granted there are going to be some shippers who can't let a driver leave sooner.
Right.
However, if you look at if you take an approach of let's make this problem transparent. So what we did with our Trucker Tools platform is we alert the broker when the driver arrives at a particular stop, and so the broker and the shipper can exactly see how long a trucker is staying at a particular stop. So by making it transparent and really on a map, they can see, I mean, this is not a he said, she said kind of a thing.
Right.
We alert both the broker and the shipper about it. Now, if you ask truckers, most of them say, well, I don't want to be, first of all, I don't want to be detained. Given a choice, pay me for it. But the best choice is let me go out faster because I can pick up the second load. I don't have to be late for my next load.
Right.
Now, it has got an amazing impact on trucking. Granted, today, the capacity has been a little softer.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was horrible.
Right.
We haven't started our cycles this year yet, so we are assuming it's going to pick up again in spring and, so on and so forth.
Right.
But if shippers can reduce the detention time by an hour, that will add additional 20% capacity into the market without having to do anything.
Wow.
That in itself is advantageous. I mean, if you ask a trucker today, they might as well say, I want to move 15 loads a month or 12 loads a month instead of 8 loads, because when their wheels are turning, they are better off rather than just sitting.
Right.
Now, the last thing I would say is, if there is nothing that can be done, provide facilities for truckers. The basic things such as restrooms, Wi-Fi, a lounge where they can stretch their legs. At the end of the day, the community that we're talking about, especially owner-operators and small carriers, they move about 80% of the freight. They are the backbone of our trucking industry.
Yeah, right.
If we don't look after them, who would?
Right, and that's something that, again, if they've got to be productive, because if they can't be productive, they can't be profitable, then they're not going to want to do it. They're going to have to move on to something else. And if we don't have the people to populate the trucking industry, obviously we have a huge problem. So in terms of how Trucker Tools helps those drivers find the right brokers, I mean, how does that work? Because there are a lot of concerns out there with these so-called one-hit wonder brokers that, you may have something, but then all of a sudden they're gone. What kind of relationship is there between the broker and the driver, the carrier, through Trucker Tools?
So the first thing you said, the one-hit wonders, or the one-load wonders.
Right.
So when a carrier moves a load for a broker, after moving the load, that relationship is gone. Broker moves on to another carrier, carrier moves on to another broker.
Sure.
Now, this is very problematic. The reason is, every time a carrier finds a new broker, most of the time, the negotiated rate is low because both the parties, both the broker and the carrier, are looking at each other suspiciously.
Right.
So there's no trust.
Right.
However, if you look at a carrier and a broker who have been in business, have been working with each other regularly,
Right, yeah.
there's not that much pressure for their rates. They feel like each other got their back.
Right.
So, when the capacity is tight, this carrier goes and says, well, I'll work with you the first time, right? I mean, because you have always helped.
Sure.
Or when the freight is soft, the carrier can depend on that broker and say, hey, I need my trucks to be moved, and the broker works for the carrier.
Right.
Having that relationship is important. So what we did was, with our Trucker Tools platform, the goal of this is to encourage both carriers and brokers to work with each other and not get this fragmented.
Right.
Unfortunately, every technology gets us to some place. Most of this fragmentation happens because of the current technology available.
Sure.
If you ask any carrier or broker how they find each other, they make phone calls, they use spreadsheets, they use emails, they use load boards. And all of these technologies want both the carrier and the broker to find each other every morning. And it's almost like, once we met,
Yeah.
getting reintroduced.
Yes, right.
One of my friends said this, it is as good as every time you have to go to work, imagine you have to go to the dealership and buy a new car and go to work.
Wow. Yeah.
That is
Right.
literally what it is. So
Right,
the
right.
cost is adding up to the transaction.
Right.
So we need to get away from this. I need to find a new broker every day or a new carrier to. Here are already the carriers that I work with.
Yeah, right,
They're
yeah.
already delivering loads. Why can't I find them a repeat load?
Right.
A back haul.
Right.
It might be going out of my comfort zone, but that's what we are preaching to the brokers as well. It's
Yeah.
not just the carriers that we are preaching this to for both brokers.
Right. You and I were talking before we went on about app overload. You know, so much out there. You know, you're going to fill your phone with tons of apps. Tell us what the concern is here and what is the solution ultimately.
You know, app is a sexy thing today.
Sure.
Since Steve Jobs went on the stage and said this is something that everybody needs to have, we fell in love with the smartphone.
Right.
No question about that, and we want an app. Remember the last time somebody told you, hey, here is an app, you should have it, and you just rush to the App Store to download it.
Right. Yeah.
A long time
yeah,
ago.
I do. You know, I do, and then I go through my app categories, and I'm like, I'm not sure why I downloaded that. It's not the productive stuff, but you also learn that there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of duplicates and everything else, and you still have that app overload.
Yes.
For even the more productive type applications. So what is, I guess, ultimately the solution? You guys at Trucker Tools have been really good about the design of integrating more features into that app. Let that one app do more for you.
You're absolutely right. So this app overload has become a plague in this industry
Right.
for everyone, especially today, almost, I think over 98% of truckers have smartphones, and they rely on, and when you look at the truckers, right, especially truckers who are owner-operators and small carrier drivers, they rely on smartphone more than the others because they use it for business. They're running their own business from the cab.
Sure.
Right? So having this app overload, every time they talk to a broker or a shipper, they say, well, you need to have this app. Or someone out there says, well, here is an app for axle weight calculation, or here is an app for, truck stop guide. Here
Right,
is an app
right.
for fuel prices.
Right.
You know, everything is fragmented.
Yeah.
How many apps they're going to juggle on the road?
Right.
So I'm not making this up. There's actually a website out there that talks about if you have app overload, there is therapy for it.
Yeah,
So this
right,
is what we
right.
got in, right?
Yeah.
So we took a different approach with our Trucker Tools app.
Yeah.
What we did was, this is a collection of all the apps or features that the truckers need in one app, not in multiple apps.
Right.
So, you know, when they're looking at truck stop, they're also looking at the real-time fuel price, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're also looking at what restaurants are there at the truck stop or what amenities. And more importantly, how many parking spots are there. So this is all aggregated data, not separate.
Right.
You know, along the way, they want to see the traffic to the truck stop. So, you know, combining all of this together into one app reduces the stress for the trucker on the road.
Right.
That is the key here.
Yeah.
So we made a point to constantly add new features, new tools. We call them tools.
Sure.
At the end of the day, they are tools for the trucker.
Right, right. And that's what it's all about. So if they want to download the app, where do they go?
They go to the App Store, Apple and Android app stores.
Okay.
I believe apps on Android it's called Play.
Google
and
Play?
Google Play.
Yeah.
The app is available. It's free to download and
Right.
free to use.
Right.
I mean, we don't charge truckers at all.
Right.
That is one of the stance we have always taken. Again, given the fact that they are the backbone, they do all the heavy lifting in this industry.
Yes.
The least we can do is give them that free tool.
Yeah. Prasad, thank you so much. I know we're going to talk again soon. Have a great show, and we'll do that. We'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
All right.